expect government to run out of services. So with the establishment of the public corporation, there is a constant supply of services. Again, it prevents exploitation. Yes, since the government is in charge of the public corporation, private individuals are not given the opportunity to act in a Shylock manner in their business. And again, it prevents private monopoly, since the government is there to subsidize prices of goods and commodity. So there is no room for private monopoly. Examples of public corporation. We have the example of the NNPC, which is the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. We have the NPA, that's Nigerian Ports Authority. And of course, we have the NRC, Nigerian Railway Corporation. Yes, all of these and more are examples of public corporation. Through these establishments, the government subsidizes the prices of services and of course makes it possible for these services to be available to the masses. And of course, with all of this, it is easy to prevent private monopoly. Now, the civil service are not allowed to operate without control. Hence, we talk about control of public corporation. First, we have the parliamentary control. The parliament controls the activity of public corporations. How? Parliament scrutinizes the accounts of public corporation. Sometimes they even question the activities of public corporations when necessary. The next control is financial control. The accounts of public corporations are audited by government auditors. In that way, they are financially being controlled. The next is judicial control. Yes, public corporations may be dragged to court if it fails to act within the limits set by the law. So since, of course, it's a corporate entity, it can be dragged to the court, rather, if it does not act according to the limits setting it up. That is a form of control, which we refer to as the judicial control. The public corporation has a number of problems facing it. We shall be discussing that under three main topics. First is government interference, followed by lackluster attitude of workers and lack of accountability / mismanagement. Let us start with government interference. When the government interferes unnecessarily in the activities and functions of public corporation, that is the problem. Having set these corporations and established them, the government is not expected to unnecessarily intervene in their activities so that they would operate without unnecessary interferences. The next is the lackluster attitude of workers. It is of course common to hear people say, do you want to kill yourself in a government work? It's a government work, don't go and kill yourself. You see people who work in government establishments coming to work at 10 a.m., some at 11, while some come to work with some of their different home activities right inside the office because it's a government work. They're not being properly monitored. That's a problem for the public corporation. People do not work with their hearts. They go about the job in a dilly-dally manner. That is the problem. The next is lack of accountability / mismanagement. Most public corporations mismanage the resources, and of course, that's a problem. Now, the question is, what are the solutions to this problem? We shall be mentioning just two. First, government should not unnecessarily interfere in the activities of the public corporation. And secondly, officials should be appointed on the basis of merit. People should not be appointed into the public corporation because they are relatives to one official or the other, or because they are from a particular geopolitical zone, but purely on the basis of merit. If this is done, then you would have people who go into the public corporation because they really want to serve, not those who go there because a number of people want to achieve some personal gains. These are two important solutions to the problems facing public corporation. We're done with public corporation. We shall now focus on the next topic, which is local government. What is local government? This is a government at the local level established by law to perform specific functions within defined areas. Of course, it is the third tier of government after the federal government, the state government, and what you have at the end is the local government. So it is established basically to perform certain functions as defined by the Constitution. What are the reasons for creating the local government? We shall mention three of them. Three important reasons. One is to bring government to the people at the grassroots. The central government may not be able to articulate all the questions and demands, the wishes and desires of everyone in the country. But with the establishment of the government, local government I mean, it is now easy for the local government to mediate between the people at the grassroots level and of course the central government. The second reason for creating a local government is so that indigenes can govern themselves according to their culture. Each indigenes have their peculiarities, and these peculiarities are better articulated by their own leaders. So it makes it easy for each indigene or each group of persons to govern themselves the way they like. The next and the last is to give grassroots a sense of belonging. Yeah, they know their local government chairman, they know their local government councillors, so they know their leaders, so they are giving a sense of belonging. These are three main reasons for the creation of local government. Now, what are the functions of local government? One is to maintain the markets. Yes, markets in the locality are maintained by the local government. Second is issuance of licenses, bicycle licenses, any other licenses you can talk about. The next is the maintenance of roads. Yes, roads leading to the market and to the streams are maintained by the local government. The next is the financing of the local government. How are the local government financed? First, the federal government finances them. And of course, they generate local revenue. These are two main sources of finance for local government. Then what is the relationship between local government and the federal government? Of course, for every law that's bylaw made by the local government, such laws are subject to the approval and the approval of the federal government. And of course, for most decisions taken by the local government, the federal government must have to approve before it comes to be. So the federal government and the local government maintain a cordial relationship for the benefit of citizens at the grassroots level. Let us now go to local government reform since the year 1976. We shall be looking into this reform. What has the reform of the local government 1976 done? What are the changes introduced? What are the new terms introduced to the local government? We shall be discussing that under three main headings. Since the local government reform in 1976, there has been an introduction of a uniform system of local government throughout the country in terms of functions, structure, and financing. So each of the about 774 local governments in Nigeria today, there is almost a uniform structure. They are financed almost in a uniform manner, and of course their financing is uniform. And this started since the year 1976. The next is that after the 1976 local government reforms, all the past debts of the local government was written off. They are now allowed to start on a clean slate, on a new footing. After the reforms of 1976, there was a new criteria for establishment of local government. No longer a case of establishing a local government where you have a population of 400, 500 persons. After 1976, for a local government to be established, there must be a population of 100,000 to 800,000 for a local government to be established. These are some of the important reforms of the 1976 local government reforms. Let us now talk about the role of traditional leaders in local government. What role do they perform? We're going to mention three of these roles. First, they lead the people to provide essential amenities through communal labor. Second, they help to maintain law and order. And finally, they serve as intermediary between the people and the government. These are some of the essential duties performed by traditional leaders in the local government. Now, what are the problems of local government? We shall discuss about three of them. One, financial problem. Most local governments will complain that whatever resources they get from the federal government in terms of finance is not enough to fund the local government. As a result, many local government workers are left unpaid. And when they are not paid, your guess is as good as mine. they may not function properly. And then you now go back to problems of the local government. The next is embezzlement.